Why narcissistic leaders always fail in the end. There is a cold truth, often unspoken, that shadows the path of those who lead with arrogance and self-obsession. History is littered with the ruins of narcissistic leaders, figures whose drive for personal glory ultimately became their undoing. As we reflect on their stories, we should understand why they failed and why they were destined to fail. Their tragedy serves as a warning, urging us to walk a different path, one defined not by self-indulgence, but by self-mastery. Narcissistic leaders are not unique to any one era or culture. History, from the fall of emperors to the downfall of modern corporate moguls, reveals that leaders who put themselves above their mission inevitably crumble. They may rise to great heights, but they fall all the harder, leaving only lessons behind. Their stories serve as reminders that when we focus on ourselves rather than the good of those we lead, we plant the seeds of our own collapse. In reflecting on their mistakes, we are given a choice: either follow the path of self-interest and suffer similar consequences, or pursue a different, steadier road. This is the first step, understanding that self-control, not self-promotion, is the foundation of lasting leadership. A narcissistic leader, blinded by their own reflection, rarely sees the wisdom in restraint or the strength in humility. They climb by exploiting others, viewing people as mere instruments to their own ends. But Marcus Aurelius warned us of such vanity: never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. But the narcissist holds no such boundaries. Their vision is tunneled on themselves, and that tunnel ultimately collapses. The Stoic tradition values moderation and the ability to resist excess, while narcissistic leaders only see value in what elevates them. They use others as tools to serve their ambition and view relationships as mere means to an end. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor and Stoic philosopher, understood that integrity, keeping one's word, upholding respect for oneself, is essential. He knew that no success is worth the cost of one's character. But a narcissistic leader, in pursuit of power and validation, sacrifices integrity. They become trapped in a tunnel of self-focus, losing sight of what truly matters. This narrow view blinds them, and eventually they stumble, bringing their world down with them. For us, there's a lesson to be learned from these missteps. The Stoics teach us to see ourselves clearly, to confront our flaws and insecurities with a ruthless honesty. Narcissism, after all, is merely a mask for insecurity. The narcissistic leader is not strong. They are dependent on admiration, hungry for validation. This dependency is weakness veiled as strength, and it blinds them to the inner fortitude that true leaders cultivate. Epictetus cautioned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Narcissists, seeing themselves as the center of all wisdom, cannot grow or learn. Their own arrogance denies them the humility needed to evolve. Here we turn the mirror on ourselves, examining the inner traps that narcissists fall into. Stoicism teaches that we must confront our weaknesses and fears honestly. Narcissism, though it appears as confidence, often hides deep-seated insecurity. Narcissists rely on others' admiration to feel valuable, making them vulnerable, not strong. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, warns us that assuming we know everything blinds us to growth. Narcissists think they have all the answers and refuse to learn from others, trapping themselves in a cycle of ignorance and arrogance. By learning from their flaws, we gain the insight needed to seek strength within ourselves, free from dependence on external praise. In contrast, we know that genuine strength is built from within, not drawn from others. Real leaders don't demand loyalty, they inspire it. They don't control, they guide. They are aware of their flaws and embrace them, seeing them as opportunities to improve. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be." Be one. The narcissistic leader argues, flaunts, and demands recognition, while the true leader simply is. True leadership, the Stoics remind us, is rooted in the quiet power of character. A leader who truly serves their purpose doesn't need to command loyalty through fear or flattery. Instead, they guide by example, cultivating inner strength and accepting their own imperfections. Marcus Aurelius challenged himself and us to stop theorizing about virtue and instead embody it. Narcissists, however, are obsessed with appearances, relying on others' perceptions of them. The true leader, content with their inner worth, has no need for constant validation. They don't demand to be seen as great, they simply strive to live greatly. But what, in the end, undoes these narcissists? It is their inability to master themselves. In their relentless pursuit of admiration, they neglect the inner work, the cultivation of character, and the control over their own impulses. Seneca once observed, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable," yet these leaders are conquered by their own minds, slaves to their need for praise, victims of their own egos. They crumble under the weight of a self-image they cannot sustain, because it was built not on resilience but on vanity. In the silence of their downfall, there is an echo, a reminder to all of us of the fragility of self-deception. Narcissistic leaders, despite their outer success, are ultimately ruled by their own weaknesses. They are slaves to their need for admiration, unable to control their cravings for recognition and dominance. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, spoke of the mind's potential to be unconquerable, unshaken by external forces. But the narcissist is conquered by their mind, unable to master their desires or ego. In their downfall, we hear a powerful warning: if we neglect inner discipline, we are destined to crumble under the weight of our own illusions. Self-deception is fragile, and without true resilience, any success built upon it is equally fragile. So where does that leave us? We are not immune to these same pitfalls. We too crave recognition at times, feel the pull of pride, and wrestle with the desire to be seen. But if we aim to lead, whether others or simply ourselves, we must strive for mastery over these impulses. We must be the guardians of our own character, diligent in the work of self-reflection, relentless in our pursuit of inner strength. And when we falter, we rise again, committed to a path that may be steep, but is worthy. This is not a message to shame others or hold ourselves above them. It's a call to reflection and discipline. We all share the same human vulnerabilities: the desire to be admired, the pull of pride, the need to feel significant. Stoicism teaches that we must rise above these urges, understanding that they can distract us from what truly matters. True leadership is born from the strength to control ourselves, to examine our motives, and to choose our actions carefully. If we stumble, Stoicism encourages us to rise again with resolve. This path isn't easy, but its rewards are far greater than fleeting admiration. It's a journey to inner peace and lasting strength. The Stoic path demands much of us. It does not promise admiration or applause. It offers no reward but that of an unshakable soul. The narcissist will never find peace, forever haunted by the inadequacies they seek to bury under titles and power. But we, if we commit to this journey, will find ourselves fortified, enduring, and whole. We will be content not because we are recognized, but because we have achieved what no one can see: mastery over ourselves. Finally, Stoicism doesn't promise us external rewards. It doesn't encourage us to seek fame, admiration, or power. Instead, it teaches us to cultivate an unshakable spirit, a mind that is resilient regardless of outside praise or criticism. Narcissistic leaders, focused on appearances, remain anxious and unsatisfied. They can never find the peace that comes with true self-mastery, always haunted by the emptiness behind their public image. But if we choose the Stoic path, we gain something far more valuable than public applause: an unbreakable foundation within ourselves. We will be content, not because others admire us, but because we have become steady and resilient, at peace with who we are. Let us take heed of the lessons left by these fallen leaders. Let us remember that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. The ultimate lesson here is simple: power over others is superficial, while power over oneself is profound. Narcissists obsess over controlling others' perceptions, but Stoicism reminds us that true strength is found in controlling ourselves. This is the power that endures, the strength to lead ourselves well, to stay anchored, and to inspire others not by demand, but by example. Here are 5 thought-provoking questions and their answers, each delving into different aspects of why narcissistic leaders fail through a Stoic lens. 1. Why do narcissistic leaders fail, even when they often start strong and achieve high positions? Narcissistic leaders tend to fail because their success is built on fragile foundations. Their primary motivation is personal glory rather than service, which means their decisions are often self-centered rather than truly beneficial for those they lead. Narcissists exploit others to achieve their goals, but this inevitably breeds resentment and mistrust within their teams or followers. As Seneca noted, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. But narcissistic leaders are conquered by their own ego. Their lack of self-mastery leads to poor decisions, alienating those around them and creating a toxic environment that ultimately causes their downfall. 2. What lessons can we learn from the failures of narcissistic leaders according to Stoic principles? The failure of narcissistic leaders highlights the importance of self-control, humility, and integrity, key Stoic virtues. Narcissists fall because they seek validation from others and act impulsively in pursuit of admiration. Stoicism teaches us to look inward and develop a sense of self-worth independent of external praise. Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This suggests that we should strive for inner strength and character, rather than outer validation. By mastering our impulses and desires, we can lead with clarity, purpose, and resilience, qualities that inspire others and endure over time. 3. How does narcissism hinder a leader's ability to grow and adapt, and what does Stoicism suggest instead? Narcissistic leaders often think they already possess all the answers, which stifles growth and prevents them from learning from others. Epictetus warned, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This arrogance blinds them to their weaknesses and limits their ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Stoicism, on the other hand, encourages us to cultivate humility and an open mind. Recognizing our own limitations and being willing to learn from others not only makes us better leaders, but also strengthens our ability to face adversity. Growth requires humility and a commitment to lifelong learning, traits that narcissistic leaders lack. 4. How can we apply Stoic principles to avoid becoming narcissistic in our own pursuits of success? Stoicism teaches us to pursue self-mastery over external success. This begins with examining our motivations. Are we seeking admiration, or are we genuinely committed to the work itself? Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. By cultivating virtues like humility, self-discipline, and resilience, we can avoid the trap of narcissism. Stoicism encourages us to measure success by inner growth and moral integrity, rather than status or recognition. This helps us build a foundation of strength that is independent of others' opinions and resilient to failure or criticism. 5. What does Stoicism say about true power, and how does it differ from the power narcissistic leaders seek? Stoicism views true power as inner strength and control over oneself. Narcissistic leaders seek power over others, desiring admiration and control, but Stoicism teaches that these pursuits are fleeting and ultimately lead to discontent. According to Seneca, he is most powerful who has power over himself. True power comes from self-discipline, emotional resilience, and the ability to remain unmoved by external circumstances. This inner strength not only makes us less susceptible to failure, but also allows us to inspire and lead others without manipulation or coercion. Narcissists seek control to validate themselves. Stoics seek self-mastery to find lasting peace and fulfillment. These answers, anchored in Stoic philosophy, offer a timeless perspective on why narcissistic leadership ultimately fails and provide insight on how we can lead with integrity and resilience. So, have you ever encountered a leader who let their ego get the best of them? How did it impact you or the team? Share your experience or a question in the comments. And what do you think are the qualities that separate true strength from a need for control? If you're wrestling with this question or others on the topic, ask away in the comments. Let's dive into it together.